Good morning everyone and welcome to Booktubeathon day 7. So it is the last day of the Booktubeathon and I'm so sad. It currently is about 2 minutes to 10 and I'm currently reading my 8th book, but I'm just going to go through what I've read so far. This is my wrap up pile so far and then I'm just going to quickly go through what I read for what and like stuff. I've read as follows: Shadow and Bone by Lee Bardugo for my coin toss. The Guest Cat by Takashi Hirade, I have it now. It's qualified for the challenge, read a book about something that you want to do. A book to movie adaptation was Matilda by Roald Dahl, which I watched on Thursday and cried like a baby. The Selection by Kira Cass, qualified for the challenge, wear the same hat with a book. I still don't know how to describe that. That was a stupid challenge. Beautiful Spine was This Mortal Coil by Emily Savada because it's just a beautiful all-round book. Who Run the World by Victoria Bergin was my green on the cover book. And How Do You Like Me Now by Holly Bourne was my challenge to read 7 books. It was just my 7th book. So I bet you're wondering, why am I vlogging if I've completed it? Well, let me show you. So I do have a pick of books to read today and I was going to treat it as a little readathon. I'm not sure if I will. I am currently reading City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare, which is the 2nd book in the Mortal Instruments series, which I've been meaning to get to since I think I read the first one in January or February, but I'm not sure. I think it was the end of January, February time. I'm going to finish it today no matter what. I'm currently on page 165 and if you watched yesterday's vlog, then you will know that I wanted to get to page 200 before I slept, but then something happened and I saw the next chapter and it was, no lie to you, 40 pages long. I was on page 125 and the last chapter I read ended on page 165, so I just called it quits. I want to probably finish this by about 1 and then start my 9th book, which is Warcross by Marie Lu, because last year it was so hyped and again it's a book that I've been meaning to pick up and read, but I've only just got around to buying it. This is incredibly ambitious and wishful thinking. The 3rd book that I wanted to get done today was Percy Jackson the Lightning Thief, which is the first book in the Percy Jackson series by Rick Riordan. This is for children and I feel like it's going to be really easy to read in the readathon. I kind of regret picking City of Ashes in it because it's like a 411 page book, high fantasy, and I'm like, oh, I really regret this. I'm hopefully going to move on to Warcross and then this, and then I can say I read 10 books this readathon. If I can only say I've read 8 or 9, that's absolutely fine, but I have ambitions today. 10 points to Hufflepuff! Now 1 PM and guess what I just finished? Oh yeah, my 8th book of the Booktubeathon, City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare. I really enjoyed this actually. I gave it somewhere between a 3.75 and a 4 on Goodreads. I feel like I'm not really that invested with the characters, and like Holly Bourne's books, I feel like in the Mortal Instruments you feel like loads is happening but nothing has really happened. I don't feel as connected to the characters as I should / could be at this point. Like, I'm now on the 3rd book and I don't really have a favourite character. I mean, I like Alec, Magnus and Isabel. Clary's whiny, Jace is really stubborn and it gets on my nerves. Simon's also really whiny and clingy, and Lucas is kind of irrelevant in my brain, and so is Jocelyn, and I don't really have like a favourite character. I can definitely see the hype, but I just don't love it like everyone else does here on Booktube. I just don't. Maybe I just read it at the wrong time. Like, maybe I could have read it when I was younger and then like now I'm 18, it kind of just feels a bit cringe at times. It still was really good though. I did prefer this one to the last one, although I think I rated it the same. There's not much in it, but I did kind of prefer this one. Also, what is it with this and like people shouting other people's names? I swear most of Clary's dialogue is Jace! And I feel like that's a really big fantasy trope that I really fucking hate. Also, love triangle, I hate it. So I think I'm going to take a little bit of a break, probably like a half an hour, 45-minute break of reading. I don't know whether to read Percy Jackson or Warcross next, so I think I might flip another coin. You can't really see me, but this is the best I could kind of do for the minute. This coin toss is either between Warcross by Marie Lu or Percy Jackson the Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan, which is the 1st book in the Percy Jackson series, which I've been wanting to be reading for ages. I think I'm gonna go heads and tails. Actually, we'll give this one tails this time and this one heads, because this was heads last time and it lost. Let's give it a fair chance. Heads and tails. I dropped it. It's heads. Looks like Percy Jackson lost again. I'm going to be reading Warcross by Marie Lu, which I am so scared of, and I was supposed to be writing a review for, so I might make some notes and then film it at a different time, which isn't a problem. This has 353 pages, which I could probably bash out in a few hours without any breaks, but realistically I like to have a lot of breaks when I'm reading. Like, I don't like to just sit there for 3 hours and read. I have to have like an hour, little bit of a break, an hour, little bit of a break. So I'm going to be starting Warcross by Marie Lu, which I'm really scared of. It's now 2:45, and I know I said I was going to have a 45 minutes break from reading, and it's really been almost 2 hours. But I am about to start Mary Lou's Warcross. I kind of just got caught up in editing because I'm kind of procrastinating this and putting this off and stalling reading this because I've heard that it's not very good. I just really need to start it and stop procrastinating, so I'm going to do that after I've done the Instagram challenge. The Instagram challenge for today is to just take a picture of your favourite book, I think, and I think the video challenge is the same thing. And unfortunately, I've already taken a picture of my favourite book this Booktubeathon in the Instagram challenges, and I was like, it's fine, I'll just use Scythe because it's my favourite book of the year so far. Scythe at Callum's. Callum is reading Scythe, and he hasn't even read it yet, and I wish I had it here, which I don't. Got to pick a different one, and it's going to be kind of hell. But I'm going to take my Instagram pictures and then post that. Probably not going to win, but I might as well complete the challenges anyway. And I'll get back to reading. I hope to be reading by at least 3:30, 3 o'clock-ish, so I can finish this right on schedule. About 8:20, and I just finished Warcross by Marie Lu, which was my 9th book of the Booktubeathon. I gave this a 4 stars on Goodreads, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. At the end, I physically yelled because I just couldn't believe the plot twist. What I will say is the romance in this, I just didn't ship at all. I'm not sure if it's going to continue to the next book or not because of things that happen, but I didn't ship it at all. I do have some notes already written down for my review, and I'm not going to say too much so I can save it for my review and for my wrap up later. But I did really enjoy this, gave it a 4 stars, but there were some things that were questioned about it, and the ending kind of dragged for me. My reading really slowed down, and I think that's partly why. I don't think it's Marie Lu's fault, I think it's just me being a slow reader. So because I am about half an hour late with finishing that, I wanted to finish it about 8, and it's now 22 minutes past. I'm gonna not probably read Percy Jackson. I mean, we have 3.5 hours left of the Booktubeathon, and I need to realistically see what I can finish in a few hours, and I think I'm gonna have to pick a really small book so I can get 10 books read. Instead of reading Percy Jackson, I decided to pick up a smaller book of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. I studied this in school. It was part of my exam, and I got an A in this exam. And I'm gonna feel loads of nostalgia probably, and I probably end up crying at the end because, not because of the story, well, maybe, show me the web, it's George. But I will probably end up crying because I feel really nostalgic lately. I don't know why, I don't know what's wrong with me. So With Mice and Men has 149 pages, I think, which I can easily get read in the next few hours. I'll probably read this in an hour and a half. I think I'm gonna have a little bit of a break, maybe until like 20 to 9. And then I might start this, I might not. But I just kind of use this as a safety net, so I'm insured to get 10 books read. This is kind of a cop-out for me because I'm a very fast reader, but I feel like I'm not going to be able to get Percy Jackson read today. It is now 10 PM and I am so tired. I feel like I haven't really vlogged today, like, at all, and I now have like 29% to wrap up my entire Booktubeathon vlog. So I did want to start and finish Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck, but unfortunately I just couldn't find the motivation to do so. I am so tired, I'm so burnt out, I am really feeling the effect of it now, and I'm gonna go to bed really early today. I'm so tired that I'm starting to get depersonalised, and that ain't a good look, Henny. But I did read 9 books this Booktubeathon, which is something to celebrate, which we're going to be celebrating in this vlog. I am going to be doing reviews for 3 of these books, which is a third of what I've read in the Booktubeathon, so I hope you guys like reviews because I've got a lot of them planned. So these are all of the books that I got read in the Booktubeathon. This pile is fucking heavy. But the first book I read was for my coin toss, and it was between Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, which is by Rick Riordan, and Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I think you can guess which one came out. It was Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. So I gave this a 4 on Goodreads, and I did thoroughly enjoy this. So I feel like the main character was really good. I feel like she was a badass. She's a proper like protagonist that I absolutely love. This is one of the books that I'm going to be doing a review for. I haven't got that many notes now I'm looking at it, so it might be a little bit shorter, but I'm sure I can chat shit and think of something to say. Next book that I managed to read in the Booktubeathon was The Guest Cat by Takashi Harade, which qualified for the challenge of a book about something that I want to do. This book is about writers who are married, and I love to be both of those things, happily married and an author, you know what I mean? This book is very short, but it is, my god, probably one of my least favourites of the Booktubeathon. I gave this a 3 stars on Goodreads because it has a lot of likeable features, but I feel like for a very short book, it freaking drags on. It has a lot of description, and it's very beautifully translated from Japanese, and I feel like in Japanese culture their literature has a lot of description in, but for me the narrative got lost in the description most of the time, and I don't actually know what happened in this book because it was so lost. My boyfriend also read this in the Booktubeathon, and I asked him like, did you know what happened? And he was like, no. The next book that I got to was Matilda by Roald Dahl, which was my book to movie adaptation, and I gave this a 5 stars on Goodreads, and a 5 stars to the movie too. I actually cried at both, so there you go. The movie was a very good portrayal of this, and I really enjoyed this. There's not really much to say. I read this really quickly, and I just, yeah, I cried. It's a classic. The next book that I got round to was The Selection by Kira Cass, which qualified for my read a book with a hat on challenge. Now, I didn't like this challenge because I suffer very badly with migraines. If I'd have wore like a proper hat, because it's really hot in the UK right now, I would have had like a massive migraine for all of the Booktubeathon. It would have just killed me off. So my sister brought a crown for her to read during 3 Dark Crowns, which I thought it was really funny and ironic. And because this has a lot of princesses and royalty in it, I decided to wear a crown instead. Most of my thoughts on this have been said in vlogs past. Like, one of them is literally called A Feminist Rant about The Selection. For me, this, as a feminist, is everything that I fight against. It reinforces some really bad stereotypes and gender roles that I would like to diminish in society, and having a fictional book about that really just defeats the point. I don't really know how people can be feminists and support this book, but that's a whole different topic. I gave this a 3 stars, I think, in between a 3 and a 4 stars, and I just couldn't bring myself to give it any more than that because of my political views. I know that it's a 4-star book, as I said in that clip, but I just couldn't give it because of my personal political opinions, and I'm sorry. This is in like the total wrong order, and this has just all gone to shambles, and I really want to go to bed. Anyway, one of the other books that I got round to reading in this readathon was This Mortal Coil by Emily Savada, which was the spine challenge. It has a beautiful spine, and it also has beautiful page edges as well. So I gave this a 3.75, and I didn't write reviews for any of these books on Goodreads, so I can't really remember any of my initial points. I was gonna watch all my vlogs before I did this so I can see my opinions, and I feel like this is really pointless because I've already said all of my opinions on these books throughout the course of the vlogs. So like, this story was really stereotypical. You had like the classic villain, you had like the classic hero, you had the classic love interest, which was no chemistry, by the way. You had the classic like three-way love triangle that I fucking hated. There was like a love triangle in almost every single one of these books apart from Matilda. I feel like as well they kind of just, instead of describing the action as well, the author just kind of like told us what was going on through dialogue, and I don't like it when people do that. I'd rather have like loads of information and description rather than someone being like, we're going over here now, defeat the bad guy. Also, a lot of the terminology for the science thing, if you're a science person you'll love this, but a lot of the terminology for me went way over my head. I'm not someone who has studied science a long time. I'm not someone that's an expert in coding or anything like that. It was a really good idea, but I think that, you know, it wasn't executed 100% right, in my opinion. Well. Next book, which is totally out of order again, is Who Run the World by Virginia Burgeon, which was my green on the cover book. I still don't really know my thoughts on this 100%, but I have got some notes for my review, which I'll be posting, which is the second review I'll be posting. I think I'm going to give this a 3.5 stars out of 5 because I really enjoyed it. I don't really know. A lot of people have said online that it's man-hating and that man-hating isn't feminism, but I feel like it's kind of the opposite of that, and that this is kind of satire. I don't know if I've read it in the correct way, but I feel like its messages in this got a bit misconstrued and miscommunicated by people online, and people don't really understand its messages. It kind of has a role reversal between men and women and kind of switches them around in terms of like radical feminist idea of separation and political lesbianism. It kind of switches them around, so men are in the position of women and that women are in the situation of dominance. I find it incredibly funny how as soon as those roles are switched around, people say it's man-hating, but apparently in real life women can just deal with this kind of shit. Just because it's in a fantasy sense and just because it's like exaggerated doesn't mean that this shit doesn't happen in real life, but women can just deal with it. But when it's fantasy and the roles are reversed to make people realise what's happening, it's man-hating and not feminism. I'm just like, what are you doing? We'll have a huge discussion on this in my review, so watch out for that. I will link it below whenever it's uploaded. It will be uploaded in the course of August. Next book in my wrap-up pile is How Do You Like Me Now by Holly Bourne, which was my Read 7 book challenge, which I read last, technically in my TBR. This was amazing. I think I gave it a 4 stars. Couldn't relate to it 100% at the time, because obviously it's about adults and it's targeted at adults, so I am not exactly in the demographic yet, but it was really interesting to see the author and the protagonist talking about 20s and stuff, and I'm about to enter my 20s and I'm pretty scared for what's to come. Although I can't 100% relate to the whole like 30s thing and feeling left out on marriage and children and stuff, a lot of my friends are currently getting married and having children even at 18, and I'm like, what are you doing? If you know me, I'm obsessed with Holly Bourne, and this was no different. I was obsessed from the moment I picked it up. The next 2 books are books that I got round to outside the readathon. Not outside, but I was done with my TBR on the 6th day, so I decided to pick some other books up, and one of those was City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare, which is the 2nd book in the Mortal Instruments series. So I read the 1st book a while ago, and although I can't speak about this book in particular because of spoilers, actually there's not really that much that happens. I did give it somewhere between a 3.75 and a 4, like I couldn't decide where it exactly fit. I know that a 4 was too generous, but a 3 was too like little, so I decided to go in between or more towards a 4. This is very much a glow up from the 1st book. There are a lot more female talking roles, but there are again some things that I didn't like about it, like there's a love triangle, there's incest, there's just loads of shouting of people's names, and I feel like at this point in the series I'm not as committed and attached to the characters as I could / should be, and 2 books in, that's not exactly great. I probably will read the next one, but if I still feel the same after the next one, the 3rd one, I probably won't continue. Even though I can see the hype, I can see people's enjoyment of it, I just feel like I'm a bit too late on this bandwagon. And the last, oh my god, why am I hippie guy? And the last book that I got round to in the Booktubeathon was Warcross by Marie Lu. I will also have a spoiler-free review up on my channel over the course of August of this book, as well as one of the books that I read just in August in the weeks to come. So I did also give this somewhere between a 3.75 and a 4. Because again, I thought that a 3 was too harsh, but a 4 was a bit too generous. I really did enjoy it, but there were parts of it that were a bit questionable. Again, the romance for me just hit and miss for me. It was not great. There was a major plot twist though, a major fucking plot twist. Marie Lu's writing is just so on point, and I actually do kind of want to pick up the next one, but it would be okay as a standalone as well. I cannot be bothered to hold up that pile again because there's a lot of them, but thank you so much for joining me on my journey of Booktubeathon 2018, my first Booktubeathon. Thank you so much for joining me on these Booktubeathon vlogs. I hope that you enjoyed them. I hope that you enjoyed this one. If you did, please give a massive thumbs up and subscribe. I upload on this channel every single Tuesday. Yeah, I'm now uploading on Tuesdays apparently on this channel. Have me for 3 days a week. Take me, take me, take me, take me. This, I guess, concludes my Booktubeathon 2018. Watch out for those 3 reviews coming on my channel very, very soon over the course of August, and my August wrap-up will obviously be coming at the end of the month, probably beginning of September now that I think about it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you probably not Tuesday for a video. Might take a little bit of a break, like a week, and I'll just start uploading my reviews and I'll start uploading my tags and stuff. Thank you so much for watching and joining me on this journey. I hope to see you next year and on Tuesday for my Booktubeathon next year and my video on Tuesday. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next week or the week after. Bye guys!
You've got a face for a smile, you know. A shame you're wasted when you're breaking me slowly. But I've got a